She posted the baby. Not a subtle hint, not a quiet announcement. Jasmine dropped the news of Matilda's birth straight on Instagram. Full-on baby girl reveal, name and all. And Gino? He didn't find out from her. He found out from his uncle. A casual call, a photo scroll, a stunned silence. That's how Gino met the little girl the internet now knows as his daughter, legally speaking. Matilda, born to a woman he still hasn't divorced, now smiling online in a picture-perfect family portrait with a man who isn't him. She didn't even bother calling to say, "Hey, I had the baby." She skipped the text, skipped the decency, and went straight for likes and filters. That's how out of the loop Gino is in his own former marriage. And yet, this still stings. Worse than suspected affairs, worse than the arguments. Because you can't ghost a co-parent. Not when the government says, on paper, you're still the husband. Gino's face said everything. His hands started shaking. You could almost see the circuits melt in his head as reality hit. While he's out here talking about toe-kissing romance and budgeting frozen dinners, Jasmine has completed an entire life reset. New partner, new baby, new family photos. It's not the betrayal that hits hardest. It's the fact that she moved on without cleanly closing the chapter she left him stuck in. And it's not just emotions. There are real financial consequences on the table. Child support, custody disputes, potential claims. If Jasmine wanted to, she could use that legal wife title to drag Gino into a mess he never volunteered for. And if Matt wants any authority over his own daughter, that divorce paper is the gatekeeper. But before we even get to courtrooms or custody battles, Gino is unraveling. His way of processing this chaos? Retail therapy. But not the healing kind. More like the let's slap a Band-Aid on heartbreak with a blazer I can't afford kind. So there he is, in a shop in the middle of a personal crisis, telling the jacket salesman that wearing a too tight leather coat reminds him of Jasmine's control over his life. The metaphor is screaming louder than Gino ever has. It's ridiculous. It's tragic. It's painfully real. A man trying to style his way out of heartbreak. Still married. Still angry. Still circling the wreck of a relationship he claims wasted 4 years of his life. And yet, he hasn't filed for divorce. Not officially. Not legally. So what's stopping him? And just when you think it can't get more awkward, it does. You might want to sit down for what Matt does next. Matt thinks introducing Jasmine and their baby to his mom is going to be some sweet bonding moment, like a rom-com meet cute, but with a newborn. What he forgets is that Jasmine isn't just his girlfriend. She's still somebody's wife. And worse, his mom doesn't know that part. Jasmine, of course, is on edge. She's never had a mother-in-law before. All of her exes? Either estranged or motherless. And now, here she is, expected to charm a devout, conservative woman who already disapproves of babies born outside of wedlock and pretend like their relationship is totally clean? Her nerves aren't just bad. They're in survival mode. Matt, miraculously oblivious, decides lying is easier than hard truths. He's told his mom they're engaged. Not planning to get engaged. Not we're talking about it. Fully engaged. Which is wild, considering he popped the question with a literal string instead of a ring just weeks later. And Jasmine didn't even say yes then. So when his mom sits down, all smiles and hopefulness, saying things like, "I'm so glad you're engaged for the baby's sake," Jasmine freezes. She forces a smile, nods politely, but she looks like her soul left the chat. Her body's at the table, but her brain is screaming. And how could it not be? Matt's mom starts talking about morals, about saving souls, about raising children under marriage. Meanwhile, Jasmine has a bananas foster of secrets simmering under the table. She's not even divorced. And the baby? The baby isn't legally Matt's. At least not yet. Then, it breaks. After being praised. After being given a necklace with Matilda's name engraved. After receiving literal warmth and kindness from the woman she expected would judge her, Jasmine can't keep it in. The guilt is too loud. She turns to Matt and in front of everyone says, "Dead serious, it's time. You tell them the truth." And Matt does. Or tries to. Because even Matt can't make the truth sound decent. He admits they're not engaged. Jasmine is still married. To Gino. Not only that, but Matilda, the baby in his mom's arms, is legally Gino's daughter. The room flips. His mom's face wants answers. His sister looks like she's about to cry or curse. And Jasmine? She goes quiet. Not because she doesn't care, but because she cares too much how much she's just ruined. It's one of those moments where a single fact changes how you look at everything. The happy couple is now a messy triangle. The sweet baby girl now has a legal attachment to a man she's never met. And Matt? He's demoted from proud new father to what exactly? And that's when Jasmine delivers one line that turns everything inside out. My husband has rights over Matilda. Oh, and this next part? It changes Matt's entire future with one line from Jasmine. Gino standing in that clothing store is almost funny until you remember how badly he is hurting. He keeps saying he is ready to move on, ready to date, ready to find someone who will love him, cook for him, and yes, even suck his toes. He thinks the problem is the packaging. If he upgrades the jacket, upgrades the image, somehow the emotional mess will feel smaller. So he walks into the store like it is a restart button. He tells the salesman he wants something nice, something elevated, something that gives George Clooney energy. In his head, one good jacket will erase 4 years of drama, all the lies, all the betrayal, and the tiny fact that his still wife has given birth to another man's child. Then comes the oversharing. Instead of talking fabrics and fits, Gino unloads his life story on this poor guy who is just trying to make commission. He compares a tight jacket to his relationship with Jasmine, says it feels controlling, suffocating, like she did. He mentions the baby, that his ex had a child with someone else, and you can see even the salesman doesn't know what to say. That's how dark the energy is around him. But on the surface, Gino keeps it light. Jokes about dating apps, talks about meeting women from overseas, pretends this is a glow-up phase, not a breakdown in slow motion. He asks if he will look more confident, more successful, more desirable. The truth sitting behind all of this is simple. He feels discarded, replaced, and a jacket is easier to fix than his self-esteem. The salesman finally finds a jacket that fits. Gino looks in the mirror and his whole body language changes. He smiles, stands taller, moves differently. He keeps saying, "I feel amazing. I should have done this a long time ago." For a second, you see the version of Gino that believes he still has a future that does not include Jasmine. Then they tell him the price. Instant reset. The man who was ready to reinvent himself suddenly remembers he hates spending money. His face falls. The confidence drains out as quickly as it came in. After all the emotional dumping, after using this poor salesman as a free therapist, Gino taps out because the jacket is out of budget. He walks out wearing his old self again. That is the irony. He wants a new life, but he keeps choosing the cheap version. He wants revenge, but he also wants to be the victim. He wants to be done with Jasmine, but he still has not filed the divorce. He wants to look like George Clooney, but he is still financially arguing with himself over one jacket. And while he is stuck in that loop, over in Jasmine's world, a newborn baby exists with his last name on paper. Matt, the biological father, is the one waking up at night, feeding, changing, comforting. Yet from a legal point of view, the man in the clearance aisle might be the one with more rights than the man holding the bottle. So, If Gino is out here trying to dress like a movie star, who is the one actually trying to play husband? But if Gino's trying to look like George Clooney, wait till you see the real person trying to play husband. Matt sits outside with Jasmine, both of them drained. You can see it in their posture. The sleepless nights with Matilda, the drama with his mom, the legal mess still hanging over them. This is not the soft, dreamy new parent chapter they thought they were signing up for. The air is heavy, but Matt is holding on to one last idea. If he can show Jasmine how serious he is, maybe everything will finally feel solid. So, he does something simple, almost childlike. He takes a small piece of string, no diamond, no gold band, no fancy box, just string. He wraps it around her finger with this shaky confidence and tells her that he wants her to know he is committed. To her, to Matilda, to their future. He tells her he always has her back, that he supports her, that he is in this for real. For him, that string is a promise, not about status, not about impressing anyone, but about intention. He is saying, I know life is a mess, but I am here in the middle of it with you. Then he kneels and asks her, even with this string, would you consider marrying me? The silence that follows is brutal. Jasmine's eyes fill with tears, but they are not straightforward, happy tears. Her face is doing three things at once: love, fear, guilt. She says she loves him, but the words he is waiting for do not arrive. No clear yes, no clear no. Just hesitation. The camera does not need special effects. You can feel Matt's heart sink in real time. He tries to soften it, telling her there is no rush, that they do not need to get married tomorrow, that this is more of a promise for the future. He knows she is still married to Gino. He knows the legal part is a mess, but he is hoping her emotional answer will be stronger than the paperwork. Instead, she tells him something that cuts deeper than a clean rejection. She says, if she ever heals that part of her, if she ever decides to get married again, she would want it to be him. Future tense. Conditional. Not a commitment. A maybe someday. That kind of answer keeps him hanging in midair. It gives him hope and hurts him at the same time. She is saying he is special, but not special enough to override her fear. And that fear is not small. Her last marriage ended in public disasters, cheating accusations, humiliation. She already knows what it feels like to bind herself to the wrong man, to start over again and again. She sees marriage as a trap as much as a promise. So she sits there, caught between wanting safety and being terrified of repeating history. Matt is safe. Matt is kind. Matt is present. Sometimes, people like Jasmine do not know what to do with safe. Safe feels foreign in a body used to chaos. He asks again in different words, trying to understand. How is it that she once accepted a ring from Gino with all their dysfunction, and now she will not even say yes to a string from him? The man who shows up, the man who actually parents her baby. He is not only hurt, he is confused. To him, love plus baby should equal marriage. To her, love plus baby equals pressure. Risk. Evaluation. Does she trust herself enough to pick right this time? Or is she scared she will blow up another life? So when she finally says, right now, I do not have a yes or no, I do not know, it lands like a quiet explosion. No yelling. No big fight. Just that low, heavy disappointment that sucks the hope out of the scene. Matt's face changes. The playful, goofy guy switches off. He admits he feels like he is constantly being pushed to the side, like his effort never fully reaches her heart. He would never want to make her feel discarded the way she makes him feel. That is the rawest line he has had in this storyline so far. He is not wrong to feel rejected. Jasmine is not wrong to feel scared. That is what makes this moment so intense. Two valid emotional truths colliding, and a baby in the middle who did not ask for any of this. And right as Matt hoped for a simple yes, Jasmine gave him something much harder to live with than rejection: doubt. And just when Matt hoped for a yes, Jasmine gave him something much scarier: silence. The day starts soft. Matt's mom and sister walk in with that mix of nerves and excitement that always comes with a new baby. There is tension in the air, but on the surface, everyone is trying to play nice. They coo over Matilda, call her beautiful, tell Jasmine she is funny and charming. For a moment, it almost feels like a normal, happy family visit. Then comes the gift. Matt's sister hands Jasmine a little box. Inside is a delicate necklace with Matilda on it. It is thoughtful, personal, and kind. Jasmine's face shifts as she opens it. She looks touched, but not relaxed. More like someone who has just been hugged while holding a secret that burns holes in her pockets. The nicer they are to her, the more wrong she feels. Matt's mom talks about how she has come around, how she did not want her son having sex outside marriage, how she was upset at first about the baby before the wedding. But when she heard they were engaged, she started to accept it. She is trying to see the positive. In her mind, the sin is getting cleaned up by a fast-track wedding. Jasmine freezes. Because in that moment, the lie is sitting right there between them on the table, louder than the food and louder than the baby. She knows Matt fed his mom a story. They are not engaged. There is no ring. There is a piece of string and a lot of confusion. And on top of that, she is still married to Gino. On paper, legally, still someone else's wife. Matt tries to keep things breezy. You can see him avoid eye contact when the word engaged comes up. He is hoping they can get through one meal without cracking the fade. But Jasmine's guilt keeps rising with every kind word, every warm gesture, every mention of morals and God. When Matt leaves the room with his sister to tend to Matilda, Jasmine is left alone in the kitchen with his mom. The older woman opens up about her faith, about wanting her kids to live right, about worrying about their souls. She says she was happy when she thought there would be a wedding, that it made the situation less heavy in her mind. Jasmine's face is pure panic behind a polite smile. She knows this woman is extending grace based on information that is not true. She knows she is letting Matt's lie stand in front of someone who did nothing wrong except raise a son who falls for complicated women. And that necklace on her neck feels heavier every second. By the time they all sit down to eat, the tension in Jasmine has hit its breaking point. The food is being passed around, compliments are given, everyone is trying to be supportive. That is what kills her. She expected judgment. She got kindness instead. And kindness makes a secret feel 10 times worse. In the middle of the meal, Jasmine looks straight at Matt. There is no smile left, just raw honesty pushing its way to the surface. She tells him, in front of his mom and sister, that he needs to tell them the truth. You can almost hear his stomach drop. He stumbles into it. First, he admits they are not engaged. That alone wipes the soft hope off his mom's face. Then he goes further. He says Jasmine is still married. She has a husband already. And that husband is the one legally tied to baby Matilda. The energy at that table flips fast. His mom looks hurt and disappointed. His sister looks like she wants to hit something and hug someone at the same time. Matt sits there with the look of a man who has exposed his own lie and lost the respect he was trying to protect. Jasmine does not run, though. She does not blame Matt. She does not start drama. She owns it. She explains that yes, she is still married to Gino, the man from before. That yes, they have not finalized the divorce. She is honest about the legal reality. And then she drops the bomb that pushes everything over the edge. She says, "My husband has rights over Matilda." That line lands like a punch. Because now this is not just a messy love triangle. This is about a baby, a daughter, a grandmother who might not understand why her own son has no legal protection over his child, while a man in another state who did not father her might. Matt's mom's faith kicks in the only way she knows. She starts talking about praying for them, for his soul, for Jasmine, for the baby. She looks worried not only about paperwork, but about judgment, heaven, hell, consequences. Her brain is going, my son lied, my grandchild is in a legal gray zone, and the woman he is with is married to someone else. It is a lot for anyone, especially someone religious, to process. Matt is humiliated. The image he tried to sell his mom, the I am doing the right thing mom image, shatters right in front of her eyes. Jasmine looks guilty and small, but she also looks strangely relieved. Because at least now, the truth is out. She does not have to perform as the perfect fiancé when she is not a fiancé at all. What stands out is something subtle. In between all the chaos, Jasmine admits she is scared. Scared of ruining Matt's life, scared of losing her child, scared of making another wrong choice and blowing up another relationship. For her, love is linked to danger. The more serious it gets, the more she feels like something bad is around the corner. So, she stalls. She lies by omission. She holds back. Not to hurt others, but to protect herself from a repeat of her own history. The problem is, in protecting herself, she hurts everyone around her too. And as Matt's mom sits there, trying to process whether her son is living in sin, whether his baby might get taken away, and whether God is happy with any of this, one question slips out of her in so many words. Is my son on the right path? Or is he walking himself straight into disaster? What happens next made Matt's mom literally ask if her son was going to hell. Matt sits with that string still on Jasmine's finger, like a joke that went too far. The proposal did not heal anything. It exposed everything. He is not her husband. He is not her fiancé. On paper, he is not even the father of the child he has been waking up with at 3 a.m. He is the man doing the work, but not the man named in the file. Once the dust settles from the family confrontation, Matt is left alone with his thoughts. No camera jokes, no silly faces, no sarcasm to soften the blow. Now it is just him, the reality of their situation, and a thick sense of being second in his own life. He keeps going back to the same thought. How is it that Gino, the man Jasmine says barely touched her in their marriage, the guy who complains on camera about not getting enough intimacy, is the one with all the legal power? While Matt, who held her hand in the hospital, who changed diapers, who introduced her to his praying, crying mother, is the one standing in the background like an extra. It messes with his head. He is not fighting for Jasmine as a girlfriend in this moment. He is fighting for his place as a father and a man. Where does he stand? Who is he in this setup? Is he Jasmine's partner or a placeholder until she is ready? Is he Matilda's dad or just a boyfriend her mom happened to get pregnant with while still married to someone else? He feels the disrespect. He also feels the danger. Because this is bigger than hurt pride. If Jasmine and Gino went full war, or if things got ugly, or if Gino wanted to push the legal angle, Matt could find himself with fewer rights than a man living in another state. Imagine loving your child, but knowing some stranger husband on paper has more claim than you. That is not a drama plot. That is a nightmare. And underneath his sadness, anger starts to form. Not rage thrown at Jasmine, not explosive yelling, more like a steady realization that he has put himself at risk and keeps sugarcoating it with romantic feelings. He loves her. That is clear. But love does not sign papers. Love does not guarantee custody. Love does not undo a marriage license still stamped with another man's name. He starts asking hard questions, maybe for the first time. What if Jasmine never divorces? What if she keeps him in this limbo, emotionally attached but legally unsecured? What if one fight, one breakup, one confession undoes everything he has built with his daughter? What if, when it matters, he is nobody in the eyes of the law? That thought is what flips something in him. Because this is not about, is she my soulmate? This is, do I matter enough in this story to be protected? Identity, security, fatherhood. Those are the stakes now. He does not say it loudly, but you can feel the seed planting. This situation will not fix itself. Papers need to be filed. Lines need to be drawn. Someone, sooner or later, will have to get legal, not emotional, about all of this. And that someone is starting to look more and more like Matt. And this question right here, it's going to haunt Matt and maybe Jasmine for years. While Matt is spiraling about who he is in this story, Gino is across the map, sitting in his kitchen with frozen dinners and way too much time to replay everything that went wrong. For him, Jasmine did not just break his heart. She embarrassed him on television, took money, and then moved on with another man while still being legally tied to him. And now there is a baby in the mix. He keeps repeating the same line. Jasmine wasted 4 years of my life. In his mind, those years were stolen potential. Time he could have spent with someone better, someone who truly loved him, someone who would have had a child with him. He says it like he had no part in how things turned out, like babies appear from thin air and not from intimacy he often refused. Still, hurt does not always make sense. Hurt makes people pick sides, and Gino has chosen his. He wants consequences for Jasmine. On the show, he mentions filing an immigration fraud complaint. That is not a small threat. That is not drama for the cameras. That is a legal accusation that, if pursued, could affect her status, her options, her freedom of movement. It is basically him saying, I am not only done with you as a wife. I want the system to be done with you too. The question is, why? Is he doing this from a place of principle, thinking she used him to get to the United States, that she never intended to build a real life with him? Or is he doing it from a place of pure jealousy, triggered by every new photo of her with Matt and baby Matilda? In my opinion, it looks like both. He feels played, and public humiliation layered on top of private disappointment often turns into revenge fantasies dressed up as justice. Off camera, real-time information shows both of them filing for divorce in different states, which says a lot. They are not on the same page, even about ending things. Each one is trying to control the narrative, the location, the terms. That alone tells you why their marriage was such a disaster. Two people, constantly pulling in opposite directions, even on the exit. If Gino follows through on that fraud claim, he could cause Jasmine serious legal trouble. That might affect her stability with Matt, her ability to travel, and depending on her status, her security in the United States. That impacts Matilda indirectly. It becomes more than an ex taking a petty shot. It becomes a line of fire pointed toward a mother and, behind her, a child. The twisted part is, Gino talks about wanting a child so much, about feeling robbed of fatherhood. Yet the main legal move he is considering could harm the home of an actual baby he is still linked to on paper. So, is this a man defending his dignity? Or a man so focused on revenge he does not see the collateral damage? You get the sense he is stuck. Filing complaints, stalling the divorce, holding on to this anger keeps him tied to Jasmine in the one way he claims to hate. He says he wants closure. But every time he chooses another shot at her instead of signing the final papers and letting her go, he keeps himself in the same story. Revenge feels like control. For a while, but long term, it can become its own kind of prison. If he wins, what does he gain? If she loses, does he feel lighter? Or does he still wake up alone over a plate of defrosted pasta, thinking about the woman who moved on, built a family, and did not look back? Right now, it feels like Gino is at a fork in the road. One path is therapy, acceptance, and finally cutting the cord. The other is legal warfare and spiritual bitterness. And if history has shown us anything with this cast, the petty route usually wins in the short term. Which means Jasmine's new life with Matt might not be as safe as she wants to believe. If you think Gino's done with Jasmine, guess again. His next move could hit her where it hurts most. After the shock of the almost proposal and the fallout with Matt's family, there is a quieter space where Jasmine finally lets the mask drop. No jokes, no theatrics, no over-the-top outbursts. She admits something soft but heavy. She is stuck. She tells Matt, and in a way she tells us too, that the moment he went down on one knee, something in her body panicked. Not because she does not care about him, not because she wants to hurt him, but because marriage, for her, is wired to pain. Her last marriage to Gino did not end in a peaceful separation. It disintegrated on TV, with tears, cheating accusations, financial fights, and public humiliation. That kind of ending does not disappear when you sign new forms. So when Matt ties that string on her finger, her brain does not see a promise. It sees a replay. More risk. Another man who could one day hate her, drag her name, or weaponize her past. She has had to survive by staying on guard, by staying one step ahead. Letting go of that defense system feels unsafe, even with someone who treats her better. She does not fully trust love. She does not fully trust stability. Those words sound nice, but they have not been her reality. She has had passion, drama, obsession. But safety, that is new. And new does not always feel comfortable. The complicated part is, she is not cold toward Matt. She lights up around him. They laugh. They joke. He calms her in ways Gino never did. You can see the chemistry. You can see that she appreciates his dedication as a father. When she says, if she ever heals enough to marry again, he would be the one. She means it. That is what makes this so sad. Because while she is protecting herself, she is also risking losing the one person who might actually be good for her. Her silence in response to his proposal was not just a no to Matt. It was a no to the version of herself that believes she deserves a calm, secure life. Every time she pulls back, every time she chooses uncertainty instead of clear commitment, she reinforces this story she carries about herself. That she is too damaged, too complicated, too extra for real partnership. You do not have to excuse her choices to understand them. Jasmine has a pattern of chaos. Running toward intensity, running from stability, then wondering why nothing feels safe. Matt walked into her life offering something different. Less glamorous, less explosive, but real. And now the question is whether she even knows how to accept that. Because this is not only a test of Matt's patience or love. It is a test of Jasmine's willingness to let her past stop writing her future. If she keeps one foot in the door of old wounds and one foot in this new family, the cracks between them will only get wider. And at some point, someone will fall through. Is Jasmine chasing love or running from herself? Because right now, Matt's not the only one being tested. By the time all these threads cross, the story is not cute, not messy fun, not guilty pleasure drama anymore. It feels heavy. Because every move Gino, Jasmine, and Matt make now has one common center point. Matilda. In real time, reports say both Jasmine and Gino have started divorce filings in different states. So, while we watch these episodes where Gino hesitates and weaponizes the idea of complaints and paperwork, behind the scenes, the legal machine has started grinding. That sounds like closure, but it is not clean. Different states, different angles, different lawyers, no shared plan. Even when they are ending, they are not aligned. On screen, you still see the gap. Jasmine is still married. Matt still has no legal rights over his own daughter. Gino is still the husband on paper, holding the potential power to pull levers that hurt Jasmine's stability, and by extension, Matilda's sense of home. That is the collision. 3 adults, 1 baby, and 0 clear lines. Jasmine has 1 foot in each world. The world where she was Gino's wife, living in arguments and fear, and the world where she is Matt's partner, building a fragile family while trying not to repeat her past. She has not fully closed the door on one before opening the other, and the draft from that half-open door keeps blowing through every scene. Matt is in love, but that love is being tested in ways most couples never face. He is not fighting another man for attention. He is fighting legal reality. Fighting trauma he did not cause. Fighting a story that started long before he entered it. Even after a baby, after prayers, after a string-sized proposal, he is still having to prove that he belongs in the family he helped make. Gino, for his part, is stuck between revenge and release. Filing complaints and divorces can look like strength, but if the energy behind them is "I will make you pay," he risks building his whole post-Jasmine identity around a woman he says ruined his life. That is not moving on. That is orbiting a past you refuse to let die. And in the middle is Matilda. No voice, no vote, tied to a man she has never met by law, held by a man who cannot yet claim her with full rights, and raised by a woman stuck between past hurt and future hope. This is what happens when adults treat commitment like a revolving door, but legal systems treat it like concrete. The strange thing is, Jasmine has already given everyone the answer they need. Not about marriage, not about which man she truly chooses, but about where she is inside herself. She is not ready. She is not steady. She is not sure she will not destroy something good again. You do not have to agree with her choices to see that her fear is real. Matt can love her with everything he has. He can show up, defend her, propose with strings, talk about forever. None of that matters if Jasmine has not decided she deserves peace, because until she loves herself more than the chaos, she will keep testing every man, every relationship, every new beginning, to see if they can survive her worst. Gino might sign the divorce. Matt might get his name on the birth certificate. Papers will shift. Roles will clarify. But the core question sitting behind this whole storyline is not, will Jasmine pick Matt or will Gino move on? It is quieter and more brutal. Does Jasmine even like who she is enough to build something stable on top of that? Because you cannot form a healthy marriage while you still believe you are wired for disaster. You cannot be fully present as a partner when part of you is always braced for abandonment or attack. You cannot trust love, no matter how gentle it looks, when your memory tells you commitment equals pain. So, where does that leave them? Gino, holding legal grenades and trying to convince himself that punishment will heal him. Matt, holding a baby and a piece of string, wondering if effort will ever be enough. Jasmine, holding on to everyone and no one at the same time, still undecided whether she wants a husband or only the idea of one. The audience wants tidy resolution. A signed divorce, a wedding, a happily ever after. But sometimes the truth is less cinematic. Sometimes the story stops in the middle, with raw edges and no bow. What we do have is clarity. Jasmine might not give Matt the yes he craves. She might not give Gino the closure he thinks he deserves. But she has shown all of us who she is right now. A woman who loves hard, fears harder, and stands at a crossroads between repeating everything that broke her or trusting a kind man who offered her family and was met with, "I do not know." And if she keeps him waiting there too long, She might wake up one day and find out that the one person who was willing to choose her chaos walked away to save himself. And if you think this rejection was bad, wait until you see who shows up next. Hint: Jasmine has not burned all her bridges. Yet.